Hello everyone and welcome again to the Doctor Show. I'm Dr. Zahra here, and today you might not like me at all, guys, because I'm going to talk about something that's going to bother all of you. I'm going to talk about junk food and all of the bad food that we're going to eat and why is it bad. Of course, you always hear people say do not eat a lot of junk food, a lot of chips, candy, sugars and fats and all of that. But do we actually know what do they do? Well, it's my job here to make your life a little bit worse today and make your parents hopefully watch this and prevent you from eating all these sugars. So what is actually bad about it? First of all, before we start, you have to know the effect of sugar on your body. If you eat a lot of sugar or you eat a normal amount of sugar, what happens in your body? Your pancreas is an organ that releases a hormone called an insulin. This insulin, I'm sure you heard about it, people do use insulin a lot and now we know why. This insulin, when it goes to the blood, it takes the sugar and puts it in a storage unit, which is your liver. It's actually here, not here. So they put it in the liver and store it until you need it, whenever you need it, whenever you need extra sugar. Because guys, sugar equals energy, okay? So now if I eat normal amount of sugar, it goes to my liver and it's gonna be my storage and everything is fine. What if I eat a lot of sugar? Like too much of sugar. All these candies and chocolates and all of it. Guys, even carbohydrates like bread and pasta and pizza dough and all of these things, when they turn into my body, they turn into sugar. Because carbohydrates, when they break down, they turn into sugar. So imagine if all the day you're eating burgers, junk food, sugar, even the Pepsi cans or the soda in general, all of that equals sugar. What if the insulin in my body is not enough? Not just not enough. After you have this whole insulin spike that you dealt with it. Okay, I ate sugar, insulin is here, it's okay, my body is dealing with it. Later on, a lot of insulin spike, my body will not deal with it anymore. So what happens? I have something called insulin resistance. My body is resistant to it. Not just that, I might eventually have something called type 2 diabetes. Diabetes, of course, we always hear about it. People have diabetes. I'm sure a lot of people, God forbid, but a lot of people around your family, your aunts, your uncles, one of them might have diabetes, and you always see them take pills, or people with other type of diabetes take insulin shots. So diabetes means your body cannot handle the sugar. There's no insulin, whether it was type 1 or 2 is not insulin enough. So what happens is your body cannot handle it anymore and you have a disease. And diabetes is a chronic disease, which means the word chronic, and I've said that before if you've ever watched it, chronic means it takes a long time. It's a lifelong disease. It will stay with you until forever. So do you actually want to have diabetes? I'm sure not. So whatever you do is you cut down the sugar a little bit to make sure you look more healthy. That's all. What else could actually cause you harm is the carbohydrates that we talked about, and all the pastries, all the pizza, all of that. Sometimes they have something called a trans fat, which is a synthetic fat that people make, or actually they form to make things taste better. All of that, it actually make your body have much more fat that you need, which will cause you having more of a bad cholesterol rather than the good cholesterol. The bad cholesterol is called LDL and the good one is called HDL. So all these trans fats that we talked about, they make your bad cholesterol much more. And in the future, if you eat a lot of fatty food, especially in our culture, all of our food is actually fatty. Whatever we eat on the table is actually fatty. So whatever we do right now is, in the future, if we don't cut off a lot of fat, what happens? Do you know the arteries and the veins, the vessels in your body, the arteries will have much more fat on the wall. Eventually they become narrow, and they could cause you heart disease, they could cause you heart attacks. All of that, of course, it takes years to happen, years and years to happen, but it will probably happen eventually. So you can easily avoid that. Avoid literally having heart disease just because of so much fat we eat and so much sugar as well. When we said it makes diabetes. Guys, the one can of soda could equal more than 16 spoons of sugar. Like when you drink one can, you think it's nothing. It's equivalent to you eating 16 spoons of sugar. Not just that, we always eat a lot of salty food. Salty food has something called sodium, and the sodium causes something very bad in your body. It's called water retention. This water retention, it means the water gets absorbed and stays in your body so much. That's why after we eat a lot, we go and sit down on the couch and we feel so bloated and we feel like so tired. This bloatedness and this heavy feeling is because of water retention, because you have a lot of swelling in your body and you need to get rid of it. So why is it caused? Because of a lot of sodium in your body and all of that. That's why eventually it could cause high blood pressure or hypertension. Hypertension is a very, very, very dangerous disease. People who have hypertension, it's actually called the silent killer. It could cause the widening of any of your blood vessels. At some point, any of them could rupture and could pop out without knowing and could cause death. That's in general. Of course, that's the most dangerous thing of hypertension. A very controlled one is okay to have, but you would forever take pills for it. You would forever actually try to treat it. It's also a chronic disease, so hypertension is very, very bad. Also, people who are already diagnosed with hypertension, we tell them not to eat salty food. Be away from salt too much in food, from pickles, from anything that could have extra salt. So again, salty food is also off the table. So I know I actually gave you a lot of things to avoid, but they make a lot of problems. Like what? Number one, the effect on our respiratory system. Respiratory system is actually your breathing airway, all of the breathing airways. What could that bad food could ever cause me breathing problems? We talked about it before in one of the episodes. Overweight could cause you sleep apnea, which is a serious disease of you not being able to breathe while you're sleeping. A lot of breathing problems could cause you to have snoring at night. A lot of overweight people could actually snore, and it's a very annoying habit, right? It's a very annoying thing to happen in a human being. And a lot of studies that says that eating junk food and eating bad food is highly associated with asthma. Asthma is basically the narrowing of your lungs, of your little bronchioles in the lung, and make you have a lot of mucus, which is the liquidy thing in your lung. Eventually you'll have shortness of breath. So all in all, you could never imagine that it could be related to your lungs, but it actually is. It causes you difficulty breathing, it could cause you asthma and all these problems with breathing. Not just that, it could affect fertility. What does it mean? It has a lot of bad additives. People don't usually, all the junk food and everything, they have additives, they have chemicals inside of them. And one of the chemicals could actually harm fertility, sometimes could actually make lower chances of having babies. And the pregnant ladies, when they eat a lot of additives and a lot of processed food and a lot of bad food, they might actually get defects, baby defects, okay, birth defects. It's highly associated. A lot of studies are about it that could cause you birth defects. So the problem is, it's actually very, very, very avoidable. All of whatever I'm saying, you can easily avoid them if you stay away from processed food. Not just that, it actually affects the central nervous system, which is the brain, the central nervous system, anything inside of the brain. Other than the hypertension and all of what we talked about, it could cause depression. Being overweight and being not looking so good, it actually can cause you depression, it could cause you anxiety, it could cause you some kind of less of self-love and all of that. Not just that, of course bullying is so bad, but people who are a bit overweight, they have a huge reason for people to bully them and for people to actually call them names and all of that. So being overweight, even without all of that, when they look at themselves in the mirror, they actually feel a little bit bad because it could cause a lot of depression and anxiety. So of course it could be easily avoided if a person started to lose weight. What else? It could actually cause effects on the skin, the hair, the nails. All of that. You know, if you eat a lot of, we talked about this before, and I will remind you. I asked one question before, and I told you, does chocolate cause acne? And we said no, it's not that simple. It's actually, it has many, many factors. You can never say chocolate equals acne. It could affect it a little bit, but whatever that causes acne, and we're 100% sure of it, is the sugar. As sugar actually is pro-inflammatory. It means it actually makes more inflammation. Inflammation is what causes something called a sebum, and the sebum is whatever you see in the acne. So it could actually make you have more acne. It can actually make you have always an unbalanced hormone level, and the hormones, they're responsible for your acne and all of it. So yeah, it actually could cause you a lot of skin problems. What about the bones? Does it actually harm any of your skeletal system? Skeletal system basically is the bones and the tooth and all of it. One of the biggest reasons for having cavities in our tooth is because we eat a lot of sugar, right? All the sugar, they actually cause you to have a lot of cavities and a lot of tooth problems. So that's actually very bad. Of course, this is something, it actually makes sense, and we shouldn't even talk about it because you should all know it. That's why we have to brush our teeth 2 times a day, and we have to floss our tooth because of the spaces between them. They would have the brush would not reach it. What else could actually become a bone problem? Right now, when we have our bones, like all of our bones, the bone is actually made to take a certain amount of weight. It's made to take your weight only. It's not made to take all of it overweight. It actually does take it because our bones are very, very strong. But if you actually fell down, you might more likely to have fractures than any other person if you're obese and overweight, because your bone is very tired from holding all this weight all this time. People who are overweight are more likely to have bone fractures and all that. Not just that. People who are overweight, they have lack of vitamin D and lack of calcium because they don't eat healthy, so their bones are not strong as well, especially in the growing age. And that's for you parents. You actually have to make sure they eat healthy because it's growing age, and it's whatever makes them grow and makes them strong to the rest of their lives. So they actually have a lot of bone problems, and not just that, they might have joint problems because your joints are the one who's carrying you all the time. So imagine if your joints are carrying so much weight all the time. They will get tired, they will have problems, they will get inflamed, they will hurt more. And people who actually are overweight, they don't walk for so long because they might have breathing problems, just like we said. If you walk for like 100 meters, you might have breathing problems, you might not be able to do a lot of exercise and all of that. So it is actually bad on the bone and all of it. Those are, whatever I said, they're just examples of how actually bad is being overweight. And don't get me wrong, I am with self-love and I am with you accepting yourself for who you are, and I'm against all the society standards that makes us all look like models. No, we all should not look like models, and we all should not look like extremely fit and extremely perfect and we don't have a bit of a fat. No, we should. It's actually a normal human being thing. I'm against all these society standards. But again, you can be a little bit overweight, you can be everything, but you have to eat healthy. You have to have your vitamins, you have to have your minerals and everything your body needs, because your body is a non-stopping machine. Do we ever stop living? Does your heart ever stop beating? Does your lung ever stop? No. Your body is a continuous machine to the rest of your life until it eventually stops. So you actually have to take care of it. Your body is whatever you're living in, so you have to take care of it. If you're a little bit overweight, you still have self-love. You should love yourself for who you are. You should look at the mirror and love whatever you're seeing, because obesity could actually have a lot of social problems as well, and mental problems as well. But all of that, you should always still love yourself and make sure you have a healthy weight. Loving the self does not actually affect you having a healthy life, because having a healthy life could actually eventually prevent you from having diseases. I don't mind you self-loving, but eventually you should actually prevent diseases, because you might have diabetes, you might have heart disease, you might have asthma, all these, and depression, which is the worst of all, honestly. I always tell you, mental health is much, much, much worse than physical health. So all of that, you can easily avoid it if you eat healthy food. But again, let's talk, what do we do to avoid all of that? First of all, number one, before anything, you should actually exercise. You should make sure to walk at least 20 minutes a day, to do any kinds of sport. Sports are actually fun and they get your energy out, they're time consuming, they make you have fun, at the same time, they make you feel healthy and they make you perfectly fine, right? So that's number one. Make sure you have physical activity. Of course, you can join the gym, you can bulk up, you can do whatever you want, whatever that makes you happy. And number two, you should eat healthy food. What is the healthy food? It's everything. You should have a balanced diet. And we will talk about, I'm sure we'll talk about this again because it's so important. So your balanced diet is basically you having enough protein, enough fibers. You need to have a lot of vegetables, a lot of fruits, a lot of vitamins, all of that. You can have it completely balanced. And not just that, you should always drink as much as water you can. I told you guys, every single day, it's the range of 3 liters of water every day, up to like 15 cups of water, to make sure even your digestion is good, to make sure you don't eat a lot of bad food. And please cut down on sugar. Sugar is a disaster. Sugar actually makes everything in your body worse. So all in all, eating healthy does not mean actually you being miserable while eating. A lot of things could actually be healthy and they're still good tasting, like all the berries, like all the grains and the oats and all the protein bars and all of that. They actually don't taste bad, but at the same time they have a very nutritious value. Because if you only eat carbs, you only eat sugars, they have zero nutritious value. So that's basically it for today. Please stay healthy, make sure you eat your healthy food, make sure to avoid everything that I just said, because again, they're the easiest to avoid. They're literally super easy to avoid. Even if you can't cut down easily, you can have your parents to help you, you can have your family to help you, and you can go to a dietitian or a doctor to help you make your schedule, make you eat healthy, and most important of all, exercise. Any exercise is good, even if you walk in 10 minutes, not even 20 minutes, 10 minutes a day could actually help to boost your immunity and your health. So all in all, that was it for today. If you need to know more about medicine, about health, about anything, please make sure to watch us every week. And if you have any questions, make sure to send it to us. Thank you very much, and I will see you next week. Thank you.